I have a really important question. Were you wearing a shirt?
I was still wearing a shirt.
So you were a Pooh Bear. Shirt no pants.
Yeah. And just
This seals the deal. I'm doing it. I'm in.
yeah.
Welcome to Ride Buddies, where we bring you conversations between some of cycling's most interesting, knowledgeable, and entertaining personalities. No host, no agenda, just great conversation. And in this episode, you'll hear from Sarah Sturm and Sarah Swallow, two incredibly talented yet refreshingly down-to-earth cyclists who are oddly similar, beyond just sharing the same initials. Both live in Durango, Colorado. Both are sponsored by Rafa and Specialized. Both are youth cycling coaches, and both are doing some really cool stuff to nudge the sport in a new direction. One that's more inclusive, thoughtful, and more about the adventure than the results. We could unroll a long list of podium finishes and epic long-distance tours between the two of them, but what you'll hear in this conversation is more about their mutual love and appreciation for cycling and the merits of different race formats. You'll also hear them break down their most recent races. Sarah Swallow's insane second place finish in the Tour Divide, and Sarah Sturm's impressive first place finish in the Oregon Trail Gravel Grinder. Okay, so maybe there are a couple podium finishes in here, but there's also a ton of other great and hilarious stories. Honestly, we were thrilled to record these two before they hop on a plane for a gravel race that they're both doing soon in Iceland. Yep, even more similarities. Anyway, they're both wonderful human beings, and their conversation is one that we're super excited to share. So saddle up and tune in, because you're in for a great ride with these two.
Hey, Sarah.
Hi,
Sarah. How's it going over there? Like 3 streets down.
No, I feel like I could throw a rock and hit your house.
I know.
Oh man, but it is good to see you. I've been thinking about you a ton because you just finished an epic journey. Yes. At least for me. I don't know if that's like an epic thing for you.
Oh yeah, it was.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, and you also finished a huge stage race and won, so that's huge too.
real weird. Yeah, man, we were on. I did actually think about you during the race. I was like, all right, I got 6 hours of this, so I can do that.
Yeah, and I was also thinking about you doing the stage race while I was doing my thing, because I thought, as I was doing like the Tour Divide, I was like, I think I'm more suited for like stage races, not like day races, and not like backing races where it requires you like to not sleep or
not
whatever.
Sleep. Yeah. So I'm just really curious about your experience, because I saw that you ended up finishing with one of my friends / old neighbor, which was a crazy, like, of all the people that were in that event, like someone also from Durango. Who, like, how long did you guys ride together?
Well, it's funny because I met Ryan on the first day, and then I didn't see him for like 5 days. I rode like the first like 5 days by myself, like 4 or 5 days by myself. Like I was I thought I was going to see people on this. And then I finally, the field kind of imploded after like the 4th day, because it so hot. It had just gotten to be like 100 degrees out. And then after that point, I kind of caught up to some people, and I caught up to Ryan, and then I just started seeing Ryan like every single day. Like he would start earlier than me, and I would just roll up on him by like 11 o'clock, like be like, hey Ryan, and pass him. And then he would probably, I think I would stop, and then he would pass me again at night, like after I had stopped camping. And then we just do the same thing over and over again for a while. And then finally, we're kind of in the orbit of a few other people, and most of all those other people either quit or just really slowed down. And so it was just Ryan and I. And so at that point, we were kind of like, okay, this long ride, let's kind of stick together a little bit.
I just can't, like, did you feel like you were in race mode for that at like any point, or like how does the focus of that work? I'm just so competitive that like if I knew it was a race.
I know that's what I want to talk to you about, because
well, here we are.
Exactly. I know we have so much to talk about because we were like hanging out before and like talking about all this stuff, and then we haven't caught up since. So
totally. I have just been so curious, like how you do a long format race like that. If you like start and it's like, did you guys sprint when you started, or like do you stay on all the time?
You know, it did start off kind of fast. I think there was just like a lot of adrenaline, but you know, for me, Sarah, like, you know, I was kind of like going into it like, okay, I've got this goal and then I've got this limit. So I wasn't really thinking in race mode. I was really just like mostly focused on my own ride. But then I realized once we started, I was like, oh, this is a
care.
And, you know, so like the first day I like, you know, my goal was just to like go 100 miles a day. So like after I went 100, you know, the first day we started at noon. So I'd gone 107 miles and I was like, that's good.
Whoa,
I'm just going to.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot. I was like,
it seems like a lot.
You know, like I think I can stop.
Well, and then, it also seems like everyone was really overly ambitious. Like they all started super hard and you just were like slow and steady wins the race.
Well, that's the thing is like I woke up at like 5 a.m. the next morning to like rain, and I kind of like pulled up my track leaders app and saw that like all these people had gone so much further that night.
You can see. That is a totally different component. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was like, shit, I'm getting left behind. And then like people were already moving. And so I was like, oh, I gotta like pack up my bike. It's like pouring rain. And so, those next like 3 or 4 days, I was kind of in chase mode because there was one woman in front of me and she was only like between 3 and 12 miles in front of me the whole time. And I was like, oh, well, you know, maybe first place is within grass, you know, like maybe I should go out. And so I you know, kind of.
So you switched into race mode real fast.
I did a little bit.
Within the first day.
I did a little bit, but then I was like, after like 4 days, like after that 4th day, I was just like, this is a really long ride.
Yeah.
I need this like
Which I bet everyone in some capacity is going through that. Cause like, I mean, if you've never done anything like that before, even if you have, like, there's always different circumstances and you just kind of have to find, ultimately you just end up, no matter what race you do, however long, you just ride your pace. Cause it's just whatever you can do.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that because, like, you know, we got the Rift gravel race coming up. Next week, and I'm just like so curious. Like, how do you? What you know? For especially like with your Oregon Trail gravel grinder race, what keeps you like motivated to like go after first place? Like, do you ever get to the point where you're like, I'm just happy where I am?
Always. That's literally, I mean, okay, well, 90% of the time, I never know what place I'm in. So sometimes that really works out for like the advantage of like, sometimes I'm winning and I don't know. Yeah. And frequently, like, I mean, towards the end of the race, I knew that like I was in the lead and in the GC and blah, blah, blah. But on day one, I did not know I was in the lead. And then Serena passed me and I was like, I don't want to go with her because it's too hot out and I can't go that hard. Okay. And even though I'm a competitive person, I was like, I just can't do that. Okay. And sometimes it's just like how you're feeling on that day. Like that's what's weird about like a 1-day race, I think, is like if that day isn't your day, it's just not your day. Like a lot of it is just luck, which is what's cool about stage races. Or like, I mean, how many days did you complete the divide?
21 days.
That is wild. So for 21 days, like, did you feel nervous? Like, did you have like the race. It's just such a long timeline.
Yeah. After like that fourth day, I was kind of like, I'm not going to chase first place. Like, I'm not really there to like.
How far was first from you?
She was only like between like 3.
Oh, so it was that woman who was just 3 and
close in the first 4 days, and then I kind of let her go. Like I was
she like, just not sleeping?
She wasn't sleeping very much.
See, she would that is
go to bed at like midnight or something like that. And I was waking up, I was riding from sunrise to sunset essentially. And that's about all.
That's great. Honestly.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like, in order to be competitive in bike packing racing, you do have to limit your sleep. I mean, that's like, cause honestly, I was looking at the stats. I had the second fastest average time out of the whole average pace, like average.
That is awesome.
But I had, but you
slept.
Yeah, I slept 6
hours
a night.
That's great. Honestly, that's awesome. I get the appeal, and like, people like Lael, I mean, it's super human, like, and we, like me, a mere mortal, loves to just, ogle at that, like, wow, the human or like Courtney Dauwalter, the, runner who just hallucinates as she's running and like waves to rabbits who are talking to her on the side of the trail.
Sounds kind of fun. If there's rabbits, But really,
that's crazy.
The whole sleeping thing was like, I'm not like, I wanted to just like do the best ride I could do. And like, I think sleeping really helped me. I felt so good the entire time. Like I just felt,
wow, really that's awesome.
Good. And I didn't, it was.
I think women are just good little creatures of endurance, like I just, like you just keep the pace that you keep, same thing with like, I think the stage racing thing, I hope it catches on because it's super fun because it's not so like cutthroat for like, it doesn't feel like a road race or a mountain bike race. It feels kind of like a bike packing race that you don't have to carry all your gear and you still camp, but you wake up the next day and do it all over again. It is a little more like faster pace because like I was feeling like they were really fast starts and I'm sure the Rift will kind of be like that too because it's a mass start, and so you have all the dudes that are just like, this isn't a 200-mile race, this is a 1-hour race and we're gonna sprint.
Right.
And then I'm like, why am I sprinting?
Yeah, I know. I was kind of wondering about that because like the Rift has a 9K like neutral start or something like that, and then it'll get all crazy. But the Rift is like only 125 miles, and so that I'm like,
which like, do you feel crazy saying a sentence like that? Because like I think a lot of people look, and this is why you and I have become such great friends instantly, is because I'm like, I know it's only 125. Most of the time it's not really about the race. Like Oregon for me was like driving the bus out with my mom and doing a road trip and hoping that she made it to each campsite every night. It was like the race was within the race.
I love that. I think that it is really all about the experience. And like I'm going to the Rift with my one of my younger sisters, and
that's right,
together before, and so it's going to be like a whole experience.
Oh, that's awesome.
Just using the bike as an excuse to like go do fun things and see cool places is really
totally. I know. I'm like, does Specialized know that this is my motivation? Don't tell them, but they're probably like, yeah, we have you figured out.
For sure.
No, it's so cool. I mean, that's like Dylan and I are traveling before the race, which usually I like to travel after because then my nerves are kind of calm.
That's kind of like how I felt at the end of the Tour Divide. It was like, I spent 3 weeks riding and just like being in this like awesome routine, like traveling all this distance. And then, you know, you end just in the middle of nowhere, Antelope Wells, New Mexico, at a border fence. And then it's like, okay, get in the car, go back home.
Which I've seen photos of the finish, and I kind of love that it's so like just gritty and like normal, and it's not this like whole like, I mean, the Tour de France is going on right now, and like that is just such a show, and like, which is cool, like that's also a cool format, but like there's just something like so real. Like, did you like it's also internal. I imagine you felt amazing when you finished, and it's just like for you, because there's not like a big like finish line banner or anything.
Yeah, you know, I think I was like celebrating the finish like the day before the day I finished, because I was like, oh, I made it to Silver City. Like I didn't think I was gonna make it that far. And then the day that I finished, it was kind of funny because I was like texting with Adam, and I was like, this whole route to the finish is like downhill and very, very fast. Like I'm gonna beat you there and by like 2 hours. Like,
yeah, then you're just gonna
beat you. And so like I was kind of like worried about that, like on the last day.
So it was just like logistical.
Yeah, logistical. Because I was like, how anticlimactic would it be if you weren't there when I finished? Like I would just be like sitting there, like just waiting. But actually it turned out to be very exciting. I didn't even have time to like really celebrate internally my finish. It was like I rode into this total shit storm. Like,
I saw that.
Oh my God. I just like rode right into it, and it was like raining sideways. I got blown off the road and lightning is coming down all over the place. I'm like,
oh my God.
You know, and so I'm like ducked behind my bike, like just waiting this out. Like, okay, I can't ride or whatever. Like, this is so intense. And then it, you know, it kind of passed. I started riding again. And Ryan had left like 2 hours earlier, or like an hour and a half earlier that morning. And I was like, what is he doing? Like, is he trying to drop me and like finish before me? Like after kind of riding together, like is he trying to, you know, finish.
It's like proving that he was faster.
So I was like, I didn't think I was going to see him, because I was like, well, I kind of need to like slow down to wait for Adam. And so I was just like kind of doing my own ride. And then all of a sudden, like, I just see this like speck in the distance, and I think it's Ryan. And so then I just go into just hammer mode.
Oh, it was exciting.
Yeah. I chased him for like 5 miles, and I caught him with 1 mile to go, and we finished together. It was great. I was like, isn't
it crazy? Like 21 days, is that what you said you finished in? 21 days of racing and riding.
Yeah. I can't say that I was like, I mean, I really didn't feel like in super race mode. Like I felt like in a
you could, there's no way you could be like that. Would just, your adrenals would just, you know, explode. Like I don't think you have that much in the human body to do that.
That last part, it really felt, it was fun.
That's so cool. So then Adam ended up being there.
He ended up finish. Yeah.
That's so rad.
That storm, because it slowed me down a little bit.
So, okay, I always have these moments like when I was racing Leadville, and like I passed Rose, who was winning, and I was like, oh my God, I'm winning Leadville. And then I passed her when she was peeing, and then she passed me because I also had to pee, which is like the funniest. And then she like really passed me, but I was like in race mode, and I was like, good, like I'm hydrated, I really have to pee. And then I was like, man, I'm like competitive, so I don't want to take too much time. And so I was like pulled off the side of the road, and there's like a massive climb, like there's huge climbs at Leadville. And I'm not a cramper usually, but I think I was just going so hard. And I stepped off the bike, and I went to like squat, like not very far from the trail. And there's like hundreds, thousands of people doing this race, lots of dudes per usual. And I'm like, whatever. And I'm like peeing on the side of the road, and then both my legs cramp, and then I have to like kind of stand, and then I'm just peeing on my shoes essentially, like in front of all these dudes. And at that point, I'm like, I chose this. This is my like I chose to be here. This is how I'm choosing to spend my time.
Yeah.
What's wrong? Like maybe up on the therapy, like what's going on here? Do you ever have this? Obviously it's funny, but like, did you ever think that, like when you were like crouched? I saw the video of you like crouched next to your bike and it was just like,
right, exactly. You know, by that point, it was just hilarious to me because we had been getting poured on like torrential downpours for the last like 1,000 miles, like all through.
My God.
And I was expecting like
that's so many miles.
New Mexico, like no water, like
totally
hot.
That's normal.
But it was raining every day, and it was cold. Like it was cold a lot of the time. But you know, to answer your question, I did have an experience kind of like what you're saying, and that kind of happened again. Like my low point was like day 4 on the Tour Divide, because it was like I never ridden. Exactly.
Oh, nice.
Oh, and I don't even know if I told you, Sarah, but my bike.
You did. Yes.
Did I?
Oh my God. So your low point really was like before the race even started.
So I gotta like preface that, like that was the low point.
Yeah, Sarah, your bike broke.
Yeah, my bike
like
broke.
Fully flew off. And was it a carbon frame?
Carbon frame.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's really what you want going into thousands of miles of bike riding.
Yeah. And so that was the low point. That was really low. But you know, it's just amazing because like all these people came to my aid like this.
Yeah, isn't it cool, that part?
That was like, and I really think that part propelled me down the course. Like that's another reason why I just felt like I had such a good ride, because I just had so much momentum behind me, like with the community, like pushing me and like helping me and encouraging me. It was just
totally.
But I want to circle back to your experience.
Yeah, so day 4. After you prepared your bike that flew off of a car and actually made it to the start. Got it.
This is the actual one of the low points of the actual ride. And you know, so it's like I realized like after the first day, I was thinking I wasn't gonna like wear a chamois because I don't normally wear a chamois.
Yeah, totally.
But after the first day, I was like, okay, I need to wear a chamois.
My parts are not going to be the same after this.
Exactly. I only have one chamois, so I got to make it work. And so like after day 4, it was like I had ridden more miles than I had, you know, ever, like in 4 days. And it was super hot. It was like 100 degrees. And I was like thinking the whole day, I was like, you know, a saddle sore is going to make or break someone's ride on this ride. Like you can't.
Eric from Specialized. He's out.
Yeah. I found that out later, but you know, I was thinking that, and you know, I was already feeling kind of like irritated by wearing my chamois. And so I was like, I need to wash my chamois. So I like washed my chamois in the creek, but then I had a wet chamois, you know? And so I was like, this is like not very comfortable.
Not ideal.
Not feeling very good. Yeah, it was a bad idea. And so I'm climbing. It's like a huge climb out of Helena, Montana. And then there's like this long hike-a-bike section after this long gravel climb. And it's just super hot. And I'm just like, you know, my butt is just miserable. Like my whole body's aching. I just took my pants off and did that whole hike-a-bike without any. And, you know, I was by myself for like 4 or 5 days. So I was like, this is.
What if someone had caught you?
Yeah. You know, I just like, missing out. You're missing out on
Okay, so whoever was right behind Sarah, this is what you missed.
There was no one behind me. There's like no one around, you know.
So you're like not in the race at this point.
No, I was, but it was just, I was like, so, you know, I was behind, you know, a group of people in front of me. And then there was no one behind me for like, you know, 20 miles or so, or
wow. And you were confident that they were not very close behind you. Or were you just to the point where you were like, whatever, it's the human body?
Like, you know,
wait, but I have a really important question. were you wearing a shirt?
I was still wearing a shirt.
So you were a Pooh Bear. Shirt and pants.
Yeah. And just
this seals the deal. I'm doing it. I'm in.
Yeah.
My kind of adventure.
Yeah. I didn't have to do that anymore after that. Figured out my chamois situation, like chamois hygiene after that.
Honestly, I bet hiking in that heat without pants on felt amazing.
It did.
I am just picturing you without pants, shoes and socks on.
Yeah, it was like hiking, like, and that's the thing is like, it was so much better than wearing a wet chamois and like,
yeah.
It's like, oh God,
that was your moment. I don't know who's this worse. We'll leave that to the comment section after this podcast. Peeing on your shoes in the middle of the race in front of a bunch of dudes who are hiking in the nude. Well, half nude. Oh, that's awesome. But you just have to be a problem solver out there.
Yeah.
The thing that's intimidating to me, I have never camped alone. I am just shocking. I like being around people. I'm extroverted. I enjoy things when I get to share the moment with somebody else. But I also really like riding alone too. And like a lot of my like rides and stuff, I'll do like a 6-hour ride alone, but I'm like, I just have always like hit my limit at the camping component. And that is something that I have so many friends that like, I'm like, wow, you are so great. Like, I feel like that. Like, I don't know if I could do something like that because I don't want to camp alone.
Well, like, so for one, I'm a bit more introverted than you, and the alone thing a little bit more. But at the same time, it gets to the point that you're just riding until you're tired, and then you're just kind of laying out your bivvy and just sleeping.
Yeah.
Up the next morning, it's like the camping element is not like, when I'm bike touring, the whole camping element of like enjoying camp and like being in a camp spot, like that's a whole experience. But on the Tour Divide, it was just kind of like just plopping down somewhere.
Yeah, totally.
Good. And then at the time, but with the like Tour Divide is that with this whole like track leaders and dot watchers.
Oh yeah, you can kind of see where everyone is.
Everyone knows where you are, and then you can also see where people are. But then and then I had like a Garmin InReach, and I was able to like text even when I didn't have service. I was able to like text people.
Oh, that's
text Adam, like like I'd be like checking in with people at night, like once I set up camp.
Do you ever feel lonely?
I didn't feel lonely. I thought I was going to feel lonely on this. That was like kind of one of the mental things I was like really trying to prepare for, but I really didn't feel lonely. And I think, again, it was just like that whole track leaders thing, like there's so much like fanfare.
There's like, yeah, totally. Like there's enough of a race, or like the idea of like knowing that other people are also experiencing the exact same experiences, like the trail, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
Not the experience, but the same ride that you're doing. I guess that would be kind of comforting. The coolest part for me about being an athlete is that like, I do think you get to just push to this like place that like, I've never had the same sensations of like drive and motivation in anything else I've done in my life. Like in work, kind of in school, but it was also always so fear-based in school. Yeah. And like, I never actually had like a pure drive in that, but like with cycling and like endurance, absolutely. Like once I like quit and then came back to the sport and just did really long things, I was like, this is so different and challenging. And really, I mean, I just have learned a ton about myself ultimately. And I feel like I am a healthier person because of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I love it too. Like, I think once I found like endurance, like long distance stuff, I was like, yeah, this is what I can do. Like, I'm not good at anything else.
Well, that's not true.
I mean, yeah, I'm good at something. I'm good at, I can do the endurance stuff, which is fun. Like, it's like,
yeah, you can.
Like, hey, I'm tough and like I'm, you know, sustainable and like I know how to take care of myself in order to do this. And you know what's fun about those long distance endurance races, especially like multi-day things, is like so many things can happen to the field in that time period, like mechanicals or just like mental things, like so many things. Like so it is a really interesting sport for sure. Change the subject real quick because you know, we're in the same town and you know, I actually like I have that t-shirt essentially, but it's I love travel and I almost wore it for girls. And we've got like these hats.
I almost wore mine backwards.
Yeah, I know. I figured, you know. And so what happens, I don't know if this happens to you. It happens to me because more people in
I have
town
a story.
than it happens to me. And yeah, so more people know you in town than they know me. But I just get mistaken. I'm like riding around town in Durango. And people think I am you all the time. Like they're like, Sturm.
Which is a huge compliment for me. Like, honestly, I'm like, all right, yes, that's a win.
yeah, I know. It's just so funny.
I was excited to get to talk to you because I actually had 2 people at Oregon Trail come up to me and they were like, are you Sarah? And I was like, yeah, I am. And they were like, I can't remember the first guy. We were like waiting in line for the group showers and he was like, oh, I thought you were doing the divide. And I was like, oh, my friend Sarah. Like, very confusing. I see how you made that error. We have literally all the same sponsors. Same names, same kind of vibe. And then it happened again. Two dudes were like, oh, Sarah Swallow. And I was like, so close. But I was like, yes, Sarah will be pumped because, I've just been in Durango for really, it's that big fish, little pond thing. Yeah. But we both coach Devo too. Like you coach the Explorers team, and then I'm with the U19 kiddos, which is awesome.
Right.
Yeah, I really want to help with the Explorers. It seems like super rad group of kids.
You could use some
coaching. Oh, here we go. I'm in.
You should do it. We need you. But again, like I said, I told you how it is. Like we mostly just like
they call them the Exploders.
Like a half a mile and then go play tag for a little while. You know, like that's
I don't know. I might not be chill enough. I'm like I'm amped up version of you. Oh man, then I'm out.
I know. I was gonna say like it might be too hard. I mean, I was kind of considering doing like the U14 girls. Like
the U14 is awesome. U19, I forget how complainy kids are, and I'm like, we were like on a ride, and I was like, why don't we ride up to Animus? It's the first day it's open. It's like kind of a longer sustained climb. It takes kids like, I don't know, like an hour to climb up there, but it's an amazing view of the entire valley. It's this epic descent down, and they were like, oh, let's just go do Sailing Hawks. And I was like, what? Do you guys even want to, like, I don't want to make you do stuff you don't want to do. Like, I mean, I'm fine doing Sailing Hawks, but we did that last week. And then they were like, oh, no, it's okay. We can do Animus. Like, it's fine. I was like, I'm not trying to like guilt trip you. I just really like, I'm just curious if you want to ride your bike.
Okay, well, so we've probably gone for
a good. I feel like I have so many more questions, but I guess we could do the rapid fire.
Want to do the rapid fire?
How many questions do you have for rapid fire?
I have 4. You know, I might think of another one.
Okay, I have some quick ones too.
Oh, so you came up with
something. In my head.
All right, great. Well, do you want me to start? Like,
yeah, you start. Well, should we do 1 and 1, 1 and 1? Or is it like 4 in a row?
Let's do like 4 in a row. So
I knew you were going to say that. Okay.
Rapid fire. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, hold on. Let me just write one down.
All right. So what's your favorite? Gravel, cyclocross, or mountain bike?
Oh, that's so hard. Mountain bike.
Okay. What's the hardest race you've ever done?
Oh, I want to say Leadville. But...
All right. How do you feel about aero bars?
Oh, man, I really wanted to hate on them just because like it became such a thing and like a racy thing, and I really just like am opposed to anything that makes people like just try to gain like the marginal gains. I hate that stuff. But after doing these longer races, I'm like, man, a different position for your body. Like after I've done those rides, my neck, just from like looking up like that, I just feel like being in like a different position must. So like ergonomically, approve. Yeah. Race wise, disapprove.
I'm gonna be racing in aero bars at the Rift. I'm just like hooked on them. I mean, they feel so.
I'm too short. I feel like I'm gonna be like this. Have you ever like almost crashed in them though?
Just by myself. Like I just stay in them too long and like it hit a pothole and I'm like, whoa boy. Oh.
What was on the divide? Because we had kind of talked about this. You were kind of nervous about your food, like what you were going to eat, because you're like, I don't love eating. So favorite ride food, I said snack, but food for the divide versus like, is that just going to be your favorite ride fuel now?
I didn't like, I would say my answer to you, my quick rapid fire question would be red vines. And those have no caloric or like any
first. Did you have any roller dogs?
I did. I had 3.
Those fill me like a balloon with gas. I'm gonna have like a sub question of this one: salty or sweet?
I think I'm more like sweet, unfortunately.
Really?
Good, but like
no, I feel like all ride food like is all sweet stuff. So if you want sweet things, that's good.
Yeah, I was definitely gravitating towards a lot of sweet things. Yeah. Yeah.
Good, interesting. Okay. What is the craziest animal you've ever seen on your bike? Craziest animal encounter, or just like a flash?
Well, I would say probably craziest animal encounter. I saw a white wolf outside of Whitefish, Montana, not for Tour Divide, but like years ago, like 6 years ago when I was touring out there. I saw a white, and that was pretty crazy. Yeah.
Was it big?
It was big. I was like, that is not a dog.
That is for sure a wolf.
A very large wolf, and it was just very chill and like.
Oh, that like gives me goosebumps. I love wolves.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool.
Oh, that's so cool. How many days have you gone without pooping?
Oh gosh, I mean, like on bike tour.
Like sorry, I should have said on bike tour.
Oh, God. Yeah, I mean, I think on like the Tour Divide this time, it was like 3 days, and then it all ended with a Chipotle burrito at the top of Boreas Pass outside of Breckenridge.
Sarah's sponsored by Chipotle. I'd like everyone to know.
Actually, can I just ask you one more question?
Oh, yeah.
Routine before you go do a bike race like the Rift or something, like what are you going to eat, and do you get the nervous shits?
Oh my God. I get nervous for literally everything. Everything. Like I probably get the most nervous for our local cross series that will at any point maybe have 10 women in it. Like the most, like can't eat breakfast, like so nervous. I don't know why. It's like I go into a real strong fight or flight thing. And yeah, I poop like a million times. So that like pooping question, it's pretty much like a day. If I don't poop every day, it's like a weird thing during a bike race. So routine, I just set everything out the night before, the day before. I like make all the tough decisions. And like, honestly, the hardest part is like, if there's no aid station, or like now it's like figuring out like, are people stopping at the aid stations? Because before I've never raced with a backpack. And I had to race with a pack because now people just aren't stopping at aid stations, which is kind of a bummer. So now you have to like bring everything with you, which is so lame because you pay for an entry and you want to experience all the food at the aid stations.
Okay. Cool. Well, I think
we did it.
Yeah.
Yay! Yeah, I cannot wait to go hang out in Iceland and
doing this. This is awesome. Nice.
Yeah, likewise. That was super fun. I love that.